Single dad sees a poor blind girl abandoned at the bus stop. The truth left him stunned. The bus stop smelled of dust and rain-soaked concrete when the single dad noticed the small figure sitting alone on the cold bench, her thin hands folded tightly in her lap, her cloudy eyes staring at nothing. People passed by without slowing down. Buses came and left, horns blared. Yet the poor blind girl remained exactly where she was, unmoving, as if the world had forgotten her existence. Something about her stillness, about the way she leaned slightly forward as if listening for a voice that never came, struck him so deeply that his steps slowed. And in that moment, his tired heart felt heavier than it had in years. Before the story pulls you deeper, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet power of helping someone when no one else does, please take a moment to like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to KH Stories, where real emotions and meaningful stories live. The man was a single father named Ion, worn down by life but still standing for one reason only: his young son waiting at home. Since his wife's death 3 years earlier, every day had become a careful balancing act between work, grief, and parenthood. He had learned to ignore his own pain just to keep moving, just to survive. That afternoon, he had finished a long shift at a small factory and was heading home, already calculating how to stretch the last of his salary until the end of the month. He was exhausted, both in body and soul, and normally he would have walked past like everyone else. But something invisible pulled him back. The girl looked no older than 12. Her clothes were thin, mismatched, and slightly torn, and her hair was tied in a loose knot that had clearly been done days ago. There was a small bag beside her feet, worn and nearly empty. Ion noticed how her fingers trembled every time a bus stopped nearby, how her head turned toward the sound as if expecting someone to step off and call her name. Minutes passed, then more minutes, and no one came. The sun began to dip, and the shadows stretched longer, making the bus stop feel colder and lonelier. Ion sat down at a distance, pretending to check his phone, but in truth he watched her closely. He saw fear hiding behind her calm posture, saw hunger in the way she swallowed repeatedly, as if trying to ignore the ache in her stomach. He began to imagine his own son in her place, abandoned, unseen, and the thought tightened his chest. He wrestled with himself, reminding himself that he had very little to give, that he could barely manage his own life. Yet, as the buses thinned and evening crept in, leaving her there felt impossible. Eventually, he stood and gently guided her attention, realizing quickly that she truly could not see him. Her blindness was not an act or exaggeration. It was complete and terrifying in its vulnerability. He learned, piece by piece, that she had been left there that morning by a distant relative who promised to return after arranging work in another city. Hours had passed, and no one came back. She did not know the city, did not know where to go, and had no money. She had only hope, and even that was fading. Ion took her to a small food stall nearby and bought her a simple meal. Watching her eat slowly, carefully, as if afraid the food might disappear, stirred something deep inside him. He felt a quiet anger toward a world that allowed a blind child to be discarded so easily. After some thought, he decided to take her home for the night, promising himself it would only be temporary, just until he could find help or locate her family. At home, his son stared in confusion and then curiosity at the unexpected guest. Their small apartment, already tight, felt even smaller now, but it also felt warmer. That night, as the girl slept on a thin mattress, Ion lay awake, listening to the sounds of the city outside and wondering what responsibility truly meant. He thought he had already given everything he had to life, yet here he was, giving more. Days turned into weeks. Ion searched for her family, visited offices, spoke to social workers, and slowly realized something unsettling. The addresses he had been given led nowhere. The phone numbers were disconnected. The relative who abandoned her seemed to have vanished intentionally. The truth emerged slowly and painfully. She had not been left temporarily. She had been abandoned completely. What stunned Ion the most was discovering why. The girl had once belonged to a family that valued appearances and wealth over compassion. When her blindness worsened and medical costs grew, she became, in their cruel eyes, a burden. Instead of fighting for her, they chose the easiest path: disappearance. The realization shook him to his core. He could not understand how anyone could discard a child simply because she needed more care. Life with her was not easy. Medical appointments, school arrangements, and daily challenges tested Ion in ways he had never imagined. There were moments of doubt, moments when exhaustion pushed him close to breaking. But there were also moments of unexpected light. His son began to guide her through the house, laughing softly when she learned the layout. The apartment filled with small sounds of life again, sounds Ion thought he had lost forever after his wife's death. Slowly, the girl began to change too. Fear gave way to trust. Silence gave way to quiet confidence. She started learning Braille at a local center, her fingers moving carefully over raised dots, her face lighting up with every small victory. Watching her progress healed something inside Ion. He realized that in trying to save her, he was unknowingly saving himself. Near the end of this journey, standing outside the same bus stop where he first saw her, Ion reflected on how one moment of compassion had rewritten all their lives. The truth that left him stunned was no longer just about her abandonment, but about his own discovery. That family is not always born. Sometimes it is chosen in the most unexpected places. If this story touched your heart even a little, if you felt the pain, the hope, and the quiet strength woven through it, please like this video. Share it with someone who believes in humanity, and subscribe to KH Stories to support more stories like this. Before this story ends, I have a special request for you. Please comment below and tell us what you would have done in Ion's place, because your voice matters, and your compassion could inspire someone else today.